Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Dark and Darker video. Today we're doing something a little bit different and we're jumping into the brand new High Roller Goblin Caves on my level 20 fighter. I've done Goblin Caves in High Roller quite a few times now. It is, well, at least to say it's pretty hard. It's a nice challenge from the original Goblin Caves for more experienced solo players, I suppose. The PvE I heard from a lot of people they struggled with, and yeah, after testing it myself, I've got to say it can be pretty challenging. Like it's not so bad if you can single out your targets. That's kind of what I do in this run, as you can see. I'm just taking the multi-class perk on the fighter, using a survival bow just so I can pull aggro, get a few shots in, and then I can finish them off with my arming sword. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun if you've got the money and you've got the gear for it. Nice challenge in both PvE and PvP. I'm currently using, in this run, I believe, a blue rear arming sword, along with a blue shield, blue bow, and some green, both a mix of common green and rare armor as well. Bit of a mix and match. But yeah, I'd say you don't really need crazy gear to do this. As long as you've got some greens and some blues, I think you can pretty much handle the Goblin Caves High Roller as long as you take your time and you play pretty methodically. The only thing you really got to worry about, as long as you're careful with your PvE, is the PvP. You got to be careful of other players in here, because there are quite a few chads, I suppose, that like to run this. So if you're not wearing the best of gear, you're gonna have to play kind of stealthy, kind of kitey, and focus more on looting. But in this run, I believe we did get some PvP and some PvE, so it was a good mix, and hopefully it'll make for a good video as well. But yeah, it's always useful smashing these barrels if you can. In every high roller dungeon, Goblin Caves is no exception, because you do get default gear from them. And since the higher chance for higher loot gear is present in High Roller, you always want to be smashing these crates to look for blues and purples. These beetles are very dangerous if you get hit. Luckily they're quite easy to dodge. Yeah, we didn't get the best spawn here, unfortunately. We were kind of forced to play outside the circle. And this is what you want to be careful of in the High Roller Goblin Caves, because as you can see, I'm kind of pressured to push forward and get into the next room, and as a result I'm going to have to aggro quite a lot of enemies. And this is where it starts to get dangerous, because the enemies hit for a lot of damage. Gotta just hide behind the tent, deal with that beetle, and then we can take this guy out. And being greedy as I am, I'm gonna heal through the damage and I'm gonna grab some loot. I feel like you can't play Dark and Darker and not be greedy. Yeah, there's some interesting things in this map that I've seen so far. I believe there is a worm boss, which I have ran into a couple of times. I've not yet fought him, but yeah, he looks very challenging. I've seen also a large trap in the center of the map. It's kind of like stone pistons that fire out of the wall. I did have some PvP by these pistons actually, and it made for a very interesting encounter. I'm not sure if it's in this run, perhaps another one. But yeah, I really like the selecty kind of active maps that have a lot of stuff going on. Very cool. I like the direction that they're taking it. But I will need to give that worm boss a go and kind of work out how you beat him, because I reckon he'll drop some crazy loot. It's nice to have a challenge for solo players outside of the Lich and the Ghost King. But yeah, we're just managing aggro here. We did pull a lot of enemies, so just spacing, take our time. Always want to be pushing up to your opponent and then getting them to attack and then backing off, and then you can land your couple of strikes. As a fighter anyway. It's kind of the way to play. PvE. Yeah, very greedy, just trying to grab as much loot as we can. Playing on the edge of the circle here, forced to go back inside. Can lock this goblin in the room when he comes out. And that way we can just get into the circle. I believe this room is the one that is adjacent to the pistons, so I think you'll get a look at the trap actually. I believe it's up those stairs right there. Let's deal with this pesky goblin. Definitely good money though. I feel like I've made my money back and more in most of my Goblin High Roller runs. Apart from the ones I've died in, of course. Those have not been so profitable. Ah yeah, I just went through my gear there. Mostly greens. Again, just using the bow to aggro. I find the multi-class perk on the fighter is just a must. It can be good for inventory space as well, so if you don't take a secondary in, you can actually use that space to put a weapon that you want to sell. And, you know, throw like a barbarian axe into the second slot, and that's 2 whole columns of your inventory saved. But I personally like to take a bow in, and this allows me to just kind of buffer the PvE, make sure I'm not aggroing too much at a time. Nothing crazy so far. That right there is the main room of the Goblin Caves, like the big area. It's kind of similar to the one in the original Goblin Caves. But it's a little bit different. We do find a nice rogue cowl there. Armor pen is going to sell for a lot. Every rogue loves armor pen. So if you ever find rogue items with armor pen, make sure you pick those up. Unfortunately, it looks like I didn't get a good look at the trap up there for you guys. But just trust me when I say you'll see it in another video where I PvP around it. And yeah, we ran into another, I believe it was another, what's a ranger I think? Or a fighter? Yeah, we ran into someone here. He wanted to play nice, so I was all for it. Just kind of looking around the big room here. Getting to grips with where everything is. At this point the circle's pretty small, so we're looking for exit portals. And yeah, this guy was a barbarian actually, that was it. Yeah, in High Roller you actually don't get told when exit portals spawn. You have to listen out for them and you have to look for them. So it can make getting out a bit more of a challenge than in the regular dungeon. And as you can see here, I do spot someone across the way on the right there. There's a blue torch. And I see him going invis there. And, you know, 2's fine, but 3's a crowd, so I start to lay into him with the bow. I was landing most of my shots pretty true, to be honest. This poor guy is getting absolutely barraged with arrows. He turns around and tries to get aggressive on me, but at this point, I've struck him down too low with all of the bow shots, and that is him down. Didn't seem to have much on him, mostly common gear. I feel a bit bad for playing aggro on him there, but I'm all for making one friend in the Goblin Caves, but 2, 3, yeah, starting to push it, I think. The teammate manages to get out, showing absolutely no care for my exit whatsoever, but that's alright. I'm glad he escaped. We do spot an exit portal down here. Gonna aggro both these goblins, and they should start to run up to try and meet me up top, and that should clear them out from the portal, and then I can jump down and take an exit. That'll save me taking any kind of dangerous fight. Yeah, there's quite a lot of ore in here as well. I think it'd be useful taking a pickaxe into the High Roller and maybe farming some more. I think there might be more than in the regular dungeon, but it's pretty dangerous, so maybe better sticking to doing that in the regular dungeon. Actually, just trying to fill my inventory with every last tiny bit of loot I can get. I'm thinking about going for the barrels, and then I see the goblin aggro on me, so I'm like, nah, not worth the risk. And we managed to get out, yeah. Pretty wasn't too dangerous a run, to be honest. Our one PvP encounter was with someone with not the best gear, but it was still fun, and a good insight, I suppose, into the PvE you can expect in the Goblin Caves. And yeah, let's just see how much money we made. Over 100. Can't hope for any more. And obviously we got our items out as well, which we will be able to sell for probably another 200 to 300 gold, which is lovely. Nah, never mind. The horseman axe and the crossbar are so good. Maybe 200 gold max. But yeah, around like 350 gold taken out from the run in total. So not so bad at all. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.